Welcome to another episode of the Financial Armor Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, investment advisor here at Cooper Financial, and your host for today, alongside my co-host Jaclyn. How's it going, Jaclyn?
I am pretty good, Jose. I have missed you. I've missed doing the show with you. I think we're kind of in rotation here with
Yeah,
Brad and Tony, and so it's fun to be able to get that email and say, "Hey, let's do a podcast,"
yeah,
and I look forward to it. So I'm excited.
good, good. Well, I just got back from California. I went out there and I thought I was going to go over there and learn in a conference, and so was Brad was also supposed to be there with me, and in last second, Brad wasn't able to make it. I'm sure everyone is aware of everything that's going on with the planes and all those things.
Yes.
It was a nightmare, right? And so he wasn't able to make it, and he was supposed to present. And so they just looked at me, hey, you're his number two, you're his right hand man. Want to go up there and do what he was supposed to do?
Were you prepared? Oh
No,
my goodness.
not at all. Not at all. But I mean, it's all stuff that we talk about on the day to day basis. We're just sharing about what we're doing in our practice, and essentially it's very similar to what I want to talk about today. Actually, it's just okay. What are the risks that most retirees are going through,
Mhm,
and and how can we protect them? That's essentially what I talked about.
mhm.
And I used a little bit, and I know Brad's presentation and slides were a little bit different, but my take is always on the economic side. I know people that, if anybody that has been listening and watching the show for a couple of months and even this year at all, you'll know that I'm pretty nerdy when it comes to economic stuff. And excuse me, and we've had economists on the show before,
Mhm.
and those types of questions. So I kind of just did the same thing that I thought Brad would do, and just put a little bit my spin of an economist to it.
Okay.
So you'll get a little bit of what I presented on Tuesday of this week. So what's today? What's today? Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. We were recording this on a Thursday, but on a Tuesday of this week, I was in California, in a stage presenting to at
Yes.
least 30 advisors, and it was pretty nerve wracking.
Okay, so I have a few questions. I do want to put it out there for our listeners and viewers to view this episode. We're going to be kind of putting on some graphics for you to kind of look at and for us to, so you can follow with us. And so I would highly recommend if you are listening to switch over to our YouTube channel, Cooper Financial Group. And so then you can view the video and follow along with us. But before we get into that, I do have some questions about the plane stuff. So weren't you guys coming from the same place? How did one get
Yes.
there and one didn't?
So I decided to drive. I
Oh,
so we're about 6 hours from
yep.
the place that we're gonna be at. I decided to drive. Brad didn't want to, so I just drove. I drove there on a Friday night with my girlfriend, and because we want to spend a weekend, we went to Santa
Yeah,
Monica and all the
fun.
pier, and we went to the beach every day. It was awesome.
So much fun. So it was a getaway as well, and then it just had to, end with a boom, you're up.
Yeah, it was a very relaxing weekend until it wasn't.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, I know a lot of people are stressing about the planes and air travel right now. And as well as with the holidays coming up, we got Thanksgiving and lots of
Hmm.
travel plans for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll try to keep our viewers and listeners updated on that, but you'll probably
Well, I
hear
have
it
an
as soon
update
as
on
we
that
do.
actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
The reason why there were so many issues is because of the government shutdown. There was
Mhm.
a shortage of air traffic controllers, and the shutdown is officially done. So we hopefully everyone that wasn't working came back to work on that was an air traffic controller. So we should be fine now,
Woo!
technically. But we'll see how this
I
all unfolds.
That is amazing news. I have not heard that yet. And did that happen today?
It happened last night, I think, or today.
Wow. Well, great news. I think for all of us, that is a celebratory thing. That means that people can actually communicate and they can resolve issues.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then all the government workers that have been working without pay
Yes.
are getting paid now. So
Woohoo! That is great news,
yeah.
Jose. I think that's a great way to start off with this topic because we're talking about kind of protecting our retirement savings
Mhm,
and ways to kind of mitigate the risk and some things that might come up that you might
mhm.
want to be careful of and be just watching out for.
Yeah, 100%. And so the title is protecting your retirement savings and what could get in the way of what could be coming after your retirement savings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go through what we called protecting your nest egg. Jacqueline, if you want to pull that up. So
Yeah.
this is something I go through with a lot of our clients and at any speaking engagement that I do, because this really summarizes all the risks that you may or may not be aware of that can get in the way of your retirement and your savings.
Yeah. I
Excuse me.
think honestly at first glance here, it can be a little bit overwhelming. You know, we got lots of colors and a lot of words and risk is on there how many times? 8, 7?
Uh,
And
yes, 7 times.
yes, so it can be overwhelming. So Jose, kind of break this down for us, this
Yeah.
diagram.
So I'm going to start at the top. So we have taxes. Taxes is one of in my opinion, and actually how I got into this whole field because again, my background is in economics,
Mhm.
and I studied through my, when you study economics at ASU, which is where I went to, they make you do research, and part of my research was this particular topic, and which I'm very very passionate about, which uh, viewers that have seen previous
Yes.
episodes on me that I have done, you know that already. So taxes is a big issue that I'm very passionate about because back when I was doing research on this in 2017, the Congressional Budget Office (CBO) came out with a report saying the world's going to end in 2023, 2033. I'm just kidding. No, but no,
Woo!
but it did really feel like that when I was reading this study and
Yeah.
researching it. Was that oops? There we go. um, it was the taxes. We have and now we've hit $38 trillion in taxes, and 38 trillion debt as a country. Okay, and eventually someone's going to have to pay for that, and that is there we go. And that is something that I wanted to talk about, and I
Mhm.
know that it's going to get in the way of our everyone's retirement, not only mine. Actually, we're going to be ending up being
Uh-huh.
affected more than anybody else.
Absolutely. And I think we also just I mean, when you think of taxes, you kinda think about Uncle Sam,
Mhm.
just knocking on your door, and so
Yeah,
the risk of him kinda showing up, right?
yeah,
When you don't want him to.
exactly. And so I was researching this back in 2017, and I see this big debt coming up, and then I see no one doing anything about it because there's
Mhm.
if you've listened to my podcast with our economists that have come on, you can spend less, right, which hasn't happened,
Yep.
right, or you can increase taxes, which
Which
hasn't happened yet, but it's most likely the higher likelihood is going to be it's going to be higher taxes,
Uh-huh.
right? And so that is, and I want to go in more detail later on here in a second, but that is why that sparked my interest. And then we have long term care and elder care planning. That's another risk. Excuse me, um, that people they kind of know about it because they've probably seen it with their
Mhm.
mother, father, uncle, things like that, but they don't realize how expensive it is.
Yes.
Average, long-term care, expenses around 6 to 9 grand a month for most
Wow.
folks.
Wow.
And that just keeps going up over time because the demand is getting higher and higher.
Mhm.
But essentially, we're all growing older, and the life expectancy is getting longer, the 80s, and it's going to keep getting higher and higher over time because we have modern medicine now. What
Mhm.
we're gonna most people are gonna start living longer than their previous generations.
Yeah.
And the longer you live, the higher chances of you needing long-term care. And it could go, long-term care. I mean, for example, Brad's father-in-law right now is paying around 9 grand a month, okay, for
Wow.
his assisted living.
Mhm.
But eventually, when he goes into memory care, which we expect he's going to need eventually in the next
Mhm.
couple of years, is I think his monthly expense goes up to 13 grand, I believe,
Wow.
a month. So people really, when you're thinking about uh, unexpected expenses during retirement, um, people don't really think about long term care. They think, oh, I need to change my roof,
Mhm.
or in Arizona, AC units go out a lot,
Yes.
and so okay, I need to replace my AC unit. Well, think
Mhm.
about, and usually those cost around 10 to 15 grand.
Mhm.
So think about replacing your roof, replacing your AC unit every single month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That could really spend down your retirement.
Mhm.
So that's another thing that could be coming after your retirement savings.
Yeah. And I think it's also, something that you can't predict, right? So long-term care, how you feel, you don't know if you're going to come down with, like you just kind of mentioned,
Yeah.
Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you can plan for because your health is not predictable. And so
Yeah.
just trying your best to plan for kind of the best case scenario and the worst case scenario, right? And having, plans for that. But that's a risk because it can just plummet, just suddenly. It can be great. You never know.
Yeah, and it's what we say. We expect the best, but we prepare for the worst. So it's
Yeah.
all about being proactive.
Mhm.
I hope taxes stay low as they have been,
Mhm.
but we expect it to get higher. So how can we proactively protect people from higher taxes, or how can we proactively protect people from long-term care events that could really, really be detrimental to their finances and their families?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the next risk is what we call legislative risk, because every 2 years there's an election.
Mhm.
And depending on what happens in those elections and who gets elected, that could really affect your portfolios, your tax brackets, all of those things, right?
Yeah. Well, and I
So
always like to say, like, the legislature is always written in pencil, right? It's changes,
yeah.
and it can just change suddenly too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and it's a constant change that we have to keep watching, and
Mhm.
that's why we bring it up, because we have resources that for that we use, kind of behind the scenes, not directly with our clients, but we have resources of people that are constantly watching what's happening in Congress, because Congress is the one that makes the laws, right?
Mhm.
They create the bills, uh, and sometimes they create something, but they don't put it to vote. They just leave it in the shelf to be put
Mhm.
on later
Mhm.
when it works in their
Yeah.
best interest, not necessarily for us. So,
Yes.
but a perfect example of that is this year, right? In April 1st, we all a majority of people that had equities and stocks, they saw their portfolios drop very, very fast. So how to protect yourself from that is very important to us.
Mhm.
Uh, that we have a pulse on what's going on in Washington, so you're not a victim to that 18% drop like it did
Yes.
in April 1st. Then we have living trust and legacy planning. That's another risk.
Mm.
A lot of your, the hard earned money that our clients have built, accumulated.
Mhm.
Uh, they want to make sure that when they do pass away, that their beneficiaries the beneficiaries, they actually want, to have the money that they've grown over time, have it, the right people have it, but also that they don't overspend it. And, if you, let's
Yeah.
say someone has $1 million and they have one son, and uh, Jacqueline, do you have any younger siblings? Are you the youngest?
I am the youngest, but I do have one older brother.
How old is he?
So he is 2.5 years older. And I am not going to say the age because then I'm saying my age. So just you get the
Okay.
gist.
Yes. Okay. So is he responsible with money?
Extremely.
Good. That's not
Yes.
the norm, though.
I know. I
That
know.
is not.
And it's definitely yeah, he's very responsible, and I like to say I am, but you definitely make me more responsible, Jose.
Yeah. No. But that is not the norm. Most people, let's say what if someone passes away and they have a 20-year-old that, 19 or 20-year-old that, if they get $1 million tomorrow, they're gonna just spend it all.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that I think I've talked about in other uh, podcasts before
Mhm.
of about 90% of inheritance go away after about the second generation.
Yes.
So,
And
so the wealth goes away. This inheritance
mhm.
that someone got, that's the majority of times doesn't go even go past that generation, that first
Yeah.
one.
Well, and I do have a friend that went through this, and just kind of an acquaintance, but she, her father passed away, and that's exactly what she did. She spent all the money. And I mean, got a car, got, an apartment, all this, da da da, and didn't even map out that she has to pay rent for a year, right? And
Yeah,
so she even ran out of money before her rent or her lease was up. And
yeah,
so you just really need to plan better, and sometimes you can put that in writing for your kids, and
yeah,
say you
exactly.
can't get it until you're 25, or
Yep.
you only get this certain amount per year or whatever, and just making sure to write it and have it in writing, so then there aren't mistakes, and so they can be wiser with their money that you are giving them.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we focus on this with the help of our attorneys. Uh,
Mhm.
whatever it might be you want have happen when you pass
Mhm.
away, we can guarantee that, and it will make sure that it does happen
Yes.
um, with the help of trusts and attorneys. And then the
Yeah.
next risk is income planning. As like I said, we're living
Mhm.
longer,
Mhm.
and we're trying to not outlive our money.
Mhm.
We don't want our money to run out before we pass away.
Mhm.
Um, if we had a crystal ball and we could exactly know when we're all going to pass away, that would be very helpful, but we don't
Yes.
know that.
Yes, well, and when we're gonna pass away and what illnesses we're gonna have
Yeah,
and when we're
exactly.
gonna have them,
Yeah.
they're all questions up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then the next thing is that, market and inflation, make sure that our investments are protected,
Mhm,
that right now we're in a very, 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 very volatile time when it comes
mhm.
to market. One day you could be doing really good, and the next day you're not.
Yes, yes.
And then it just keeps going, and then it comes back again. It's a roller coaster of emotions, right?
Mhm.
And then depending on where you are in your retirement stage, that could be very detrimental.
Absolutely,
And
and I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, it's
mhm,
been very volatile, and a lot of
mhm,
people are struggling with retirement, or people haven't retired yet that should have or planned to,
yeah,
right? And now they're like, we're gonna keep working."
mhm. Exactly. And the last risk is assets and liabilities.
Okay.
I the way that we define this is protecting your assets, and
Mhm.
uh, through something that we don't specifically do directly, but it's something we like to point out. Um, it's something called a umbrella policy. Okay,
Oh.
because people as people get older, they get stubborn sometimes, and they want to keep driving when they probably shouldn't be driving.
Mhm.
And we're by a freeway here, the 60 in Arizona, And sometimes, you have that person that you probably that person probably shouldn't be driving, and they get
Yes.
into a car accident, and they get sued because they killed 1, 2, or 3 people.
Wow.
And, maybe their auto policy covers for some of it,
Mhm.
but then thereafter, he's on the hook,
Yeah.
right? And they probably get sued for a couple $1,000,000.
Mhm.
That could be something that your retirement is gonna have to pay for,
Yeah.
if you're not set up correctly. So an umbrella policy could protect somebody from that.
Okay.
So it protects them from anything above any liability from above, what their car or home insurance would cover.
Okay, that's great to know. Well,
Yeah.
that's a lot to unpack with all of those risks. And I'm glad that we went through one by one. And I think it's just important to have these in mind and, maybe screenshot this wheel, and it's very color coded nicely. And so yeah, thank you, Jose. And what else are we going to be touching on today?
Yeah, I wanted to touch more on the taxes because the taxes is gonna, I believe, because again, it might be a little bit biased. Go to the other one, the history of taxes, because this is we all have very short memories and we forget
Yes.
uh, what times used to be like,
Mhm.
not too long ago, right?
Yes.
Uh, right now we have pretty low taxes, okay, and if we compare them to what they used to be, just
Wow.
before right now we're at the top tax bracket is 37. Before uh, Trump came into office and passed the tax bill, it used to be 39.6%. But I wanted, and in the early 2000s, about the same, and then 1980s it was 50%, and the 70s 70%. Go to the 60s, and now you're getting up to the 90s. It was 90 in the
Wow.
90s percent since 1944 to 1963. Top tax bracket.
Wow. So kind of the bottom of, or I guess, I mean, the whole second column there is
Yeah,
a lot,
it's starting to go lower.
large. Yeah,
Yeah,
large numbers there.
yeah,
And especially, yeah, at the bottom of that second column and at the beginning of the third there.
yeah, yeah, and if you notice, the reason it got higher in the 1940s is they're trying to pay for the war.
Yeah.
1940, and after the World War II, they were trying to pay for that, and that's why it went up, like that. So again, back then, yes, the debt went up, and
Mhm.
they either they didn't have the chance to spend less because they had a whole war they had to worry about. So
Yeah.
what they do instead, they increased taxes. So that's what they did. Um, so and again, I've had this conversation before in the other podcast. um, the only options that are left, because the government is not looking to spend less money.
Mhm.
They're really not looking for that. It seems like, so
Mhm.
eventually they're going to increase taxes, um, and also the change of demographics is important here too, because we have this boomer generation, um, excuse me, that is eventually going to hit 65.
Mhm.
And I think by I forget the stat, but I think it's about in 2030, all baby boomers will be above the age of 65.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
And that is really concerning because there's going to be more Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid beneficiaries than there is,
Mhm.
um, well, not more, but there's going to be a almost very equal amount of people paying for those benefits, compared to
Receiving.
yeah, receiving. So
Wow.
let me give you some stats on this.
Okay.
And again, we've talked about it on the other podcast, but I recommend we go. People that are listening, go back to our podcast with Alex Hill. We've
Mhm.
touched on this, but I think it's very, very important to bring it up. In 1940s, if you want to pull that up again, I'm gonna pick on you because you're the only one I can pick on right
Oh, goodness.
now.
Okay. I'm
In
ready.
1940, when the upper tax bracket was 79%,
Yep.
how many taxpayers do you think we had at the time per Social Security beneficiary?
Oh.
Just throw out a number.
Uh, 2? I
It
don't
was
know what, like, ballpark
so
are we looking at?
well, yeah, well, should be watching all the other episodes. Just kidding.
See, this is
So,
why we should do it every week, Jose. You gotta teach me this stuff.
so in 1940, it was 159 people that were sharing the cost or paying in taxes for the benefit of one Social Security beneficiary, Social Security Medicare beneficiary. So so
Wow.
imagine the bill. Imagine you go to a restaurant and the bill is $100, or let's just say $1,000, and
Okay.
then there's 159 people to split that bill. I think that's a pretty good deal. It's
Wow.
very doable.
Yeah, that would be great if it
Yeah,
was splitting a bill for sure.
yeah. And then now let's go to 1945. I'm gonna
Okay.
give you one more shot.
All right, so the number is going up by what, 15%?
Yep,
So,
yep.
okay. So if the number goes up, the beneficiaries also go up. So I'm going to say 250.
No. So in 1945, there was 40. They went down to 42 taxpayers per beneficiary. Okay, for
Okay.
Social Security and Social Security beneficiary, Medicare's beneficiary. Okay, and then in 1960, I just want to jump over.
Okay.
Again, it's still 91%. There was 5 taxpayers splitting the bill of each uh, Social Security Medicare beneficiary
Okay. So why does that change but the percent doesn't?
because of demographics. Also, there's
Okay.
more people going into needing these benefits, and
Mhm.
there's less people in the workforce.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yep.
guess where we're at today.
Uh I'm not even going to guess. I'm just going to
We're
confuse our
and
listeners.
everyone, I think, but again, it's something that it is thought provoking, which is,
Yes, for
to me, it's
sure.
very scary. I mean, studying in economics is pretty gloom and doom. Honestly, it's pretty depressing things to study. So I don't recommend it for most people. But today, it's 3 to 1, 3 taxpayers per beneficiary, and this is about
Wow.
to get worse because
Mhm.
not all baby boomers are 65 yet,
Yeah.
but they will be.
Mhm.
So again, back in 2017, when I was reading the CBO study,
Mhm.
this 3 to 1 is going to go to 2 to 1 in the 2030s.
So we're back at my original guess.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine now going back to, okay, let's look at, you're at a restaurant, you need to split $1,000. I'd rather split it with 159 people than 2 people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means that really begs the question: what's stopping the government from going back to? You don't even have to go back to the 90s. Just going back to what they used to be in the early 2000s, or even in the 2015, which is almost 40%. You know what?
Okay.
And what is stopping them?
Mhm.
In other words, there's nothing stopping them, and and almost they're gonna have to,
Yeah.
because otherwise these programs are gonna go bankrupt.
Yeah, something's gotta change for
Right.
sure.
So that's why I'm very passionate about this.
Yes.
And so we know taxes are going to go up. So what do we need to do is what we do for clients is get people out of the IRS bullseye.
Mhm.
Or in other words, another line that apparently people really like that I say is is it's much cheaper to divorce the IRS than it is to be married to it for the rest of your life. Put that on a
Wow.
shirt somewhere and frame
Yes.
it. I don't know.
You can make money. Yeah, you can make money on that. For sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
So that really affects someone's retirement, because let's say, effective tax bracket, and oh, and sorry, I want to go back to that graph one more time
Okay.
because it was really funny in the 80s. Uh,
Oh,
sorry, go back.
sorry. Ah.
I forget the year of of when this happened, but I heard a story about Ronald Reagan. When he
Okay.
was an actor, he would limit, and he used to live in California. He would limit his movie making to only 2 movies a year, because if he would do one more movie that would put him in the highest tax bracket, and he would almost be giving this that whole money that he would get from that third movie, and he would be giving it all away to the government. So why even do that third movie? Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
He's so smart. I mean, what how did he know that? And how did he even make that connection and that relationship there? Like, I don't know. I mean, s I don't know. I just don't really
Well,
prepare
he
for
was a
that
pretty
stuff.
smart guy. That's how he got to become the one of the best presidents.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, most well-known president, and yeah, and so it was just a really funny fact I read. I forget where I read it, but so yeah, that was just another fact.
Yes.
So so again, we know taxes are going to go up. So we try to be proactive. We don't know when exactly that's going to happen, but we try to be proactive to make sure we get people's out of divorcing the IRS essentially in a strategic legal way with the help of our attorneys and our CPA
Mhm.
teams, moving them into tax-free accounts and out of the IRS bullseye. But also another thing that is, yeah, thank you. Another thing that it's really very passionate about because again, people are living longer,
Mhm.
and the stats also say husband's going to pass away first,
Mhm.
and they leave the wife with inheritance.
Mhm.
But then now, and for the most part, the income stays the same because usually people have pensions or they
Mhm.
have really large IRAs and they have these RMDs that are really large.
Mhm.
But now the RMDs and the pensions and the Social Security maintain an income that is still pretty large.
Yeah.
But now now these surviving spouses have to pay single. They file single as a taxpayer,
Okay.
and what this graph shows is that typically, taxes go up for a surviving spouse around 30 to 40% more taxes just for being um, a a widow or a
Yeah.
widower.
Yeah.
The surviving spouse, they have an increase in taxes of about 30 to 40% increase.
Wow.
And talk about something that could really get in the way of your retirement.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's an extra thing that I just I want I try to do my best to educate people about
Mhm.
this really large risk that I think taxes are, and there really is two tax code for two people. There's two different types of tax codes, I believe. It's
Yeah.
for the knowing and for the not knowing.
Mhm.
If you're not aware of all these things that could be coming after you, you're going to be the one paying this debt because you didn't prepare, you weren't proactive. And if your financial advisor, your CPA is not preparing you for any of this, then I'm going to be very thankful because you're going to
Yeah.
be paying for my our you and I's taxes debt later
Yep.
down the line. Um so excuse me. So yeah, that is how that is in a nutshell. I mean, if I could keep talking, this could be a 2 hour long podcast, but those are the risks that could be coming after your retirement. And I just picked on one and
Mhm.
how big of a risk it is and how to mitigate it,
Yeah.
which is getting out of the IRS bullseye. Other words, divorcing the IRS.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think, this is all a lot. I mean, I am a little bit overwhelmed just hearing the numbers and the information that you're giving me. But I think it's also important to stay positive about it. There are solutions to this. I mean, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. So the things that we mentioned, like healthcare and when we're going to pass away, those are things that we can't control. But in reality, there are things that we can control and there are things that we can be proactive about and prepare for our retirement. And we can also be careful about what we do have right now and the plan and the strategy that we go about doing it. So working with a financial advisor and making those smart decisions because Jose, you just went over my head a little bit, but you were fantastic and you are so knowledgeable in what you are talking about and you prepare yourself and you are prepared for the future and prepared for hold on. So, Jose, there is a lot of information here. How can the listeners and viewers get a hold of you and your team and Brad at Cooper Financial?
They can get a hold of us by giving us a call at 888-390-5277 or go to our show website, financialarmorshow.com.
Perfect. Well, sometimes you do need to listen to kind of the negative and the things that could go wrong. But I think next time, Jose, let's do a more positive episode. And let's leave it with some positive news and but there's always some negative in life. So it's important to realize what is going on around you as well.
Exactly. And protecting, well, all I'm doing is protecting people from those negative things. Doing my
Yes,
best.
absolutely. Preparing, being
Yeah.
proactive.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was great to do this podcast with you, Jose. And listeners, you can tune in and view this on YouTube so you can see all the graphics. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.